Just going to show you a way that you could probably improvise a snare if you ended up in the woods, you never had nothing with you. And for this I'm going to use some broken off sticks. So I've got one like that. That's probably like that long, forearm. A few other smaller bits with little forks on the end. These can all be shortened later. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to use my shoelace to make the actual snare. And the kind of place you're looking for is if you've got a little bit of a trail like this going and passing underneath something. That's an ideal little bit for a kind of snare like this. You could always do this like a spring snare or whatever. I'm just trying to keep this simple at the minute. What we're going to do is, because this is the only bit of cord I've got on me, or strongish cord, most shoelaces are pretty strong, we're going to use this for the snare. What you might want to do though is, depending on how long your boot lace or your shoelace is, obviously if you're going to be using this a long time, you're going to want to replace your shoelaces. So one method to that would be to cut enough off one end, or maybe what you could do if you're only going to use one shoelace, take your other shoelace out the other boot, cut it in half and lace up what you can with it. Or the alternative would be to put a small bit in like this, tie it up and then cut the rest off, and then keep this bit for the snare. Or you could use this for all manner of different things. You could even tie the bottom as well if you want to. Or tie it in the middle, then use your sock over the top like that. Just trying to keep this really simple for you. I've got our shoelace. I'm just going to double it over like this. And just tie a knot. Then the other end goes back through it. And that's basically your noose. Now this stick could be a little bit thicker, but we're going to use this for our anchor stick for the snare. And the reason I've got this bit sticking down is to save you having to shave bits or anything. And the other end of your snare, it's just going to be tied here, and this will just stop it pulling off. That's your anchor bit in there. I'm just going to tie the snare to that bit, which is just there. If you've got enough, what's left over, you could even tie it on above to the big log, or you could tie it onto there as a really heavy anchor. But that stick might just hold it. If you don't think it's going to, then you could tie it to the one above it. So what I've done to mine, look, so I've got 2 pairs of socks on. I've doubled that over. It won't come off. If you need it tighter, you just take the end off, because look, even on this, and this is quite a big snare, there's still plenty enough left what could have been used to redo your shoelaces again. Now what I'll do, I'll finish this off by putting some stuff at the sides, and I'll show you it again in a minute. But essentially, you could probably catch pheasants and kind of game birds and stuff like this quite easily. A rabbit might pull and fight a lot, maybe snap it, but then this string's pretty strong. It also depends how quick you get back to it as well. Just using little bits of stick what's in the area. Well, there's a way if you ended up in the woods and you had no knife or tools or anything with you. Shoelace for the snare, all the other branches was just snapped off by hand. Cut the small bit off the end of the shoelace, use that again to redo your shoelace up again. That'll at least give you the possibility that you might actually catch something. Obviously there's other ways of doing traps. You could do dead falls with the trigger mechanisms, but if you've got to carve it and you haven't got a knife, this is probably one of the most simple ones you could do, and the quickest as well. Right, cheers for watching, and I'll see you later.